Hello, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, featuring today's top directors sharing behind-the-scenes stories of their latest films and insights into the craft of directing. Please take a second to subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. This episode takes us behind the scenes of director Jonathan Levine's new romantic comedy, Long Shot. The film tells the story of Fred, a free-spirited journalist who unexpectedly reunites with his childhood crush, Charlotte, now one of the most influential women in the world. After Fred is hired to be a speechwriter on Charlotte's presidential campaign, sparks fly and their chemistry leads to a romance, even though on the surface the two have nothing in common. In addition to Long Shot, Mr. Levine's credits include the feature films Snatched, The Night Before, Warm Bodies, 50-50, The Whackness, and All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, the pilots for the series I'm Dying Up Here and Rush, and episodes of the series The Screen Junkies Show and How to Make It in America. Following a recent screening of the film at the Harmony Gold Theater in Los Angeles, Mr. Levine spoke with director Ruben Fleischer about filming Long Shot. During their conversation, they discuss how Mr. Levine came to direct the film, his collaboration with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron to enrich the material, and his thoughts on integrating improvisation without being indulgent.
I hope everybody enjoyed this movie as much as I did. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I saw it like a week ago, and I've just been telling everyone all week, it's the funniest movie I've seen in such a long time, and just another thing I love about it is just how beautifully shot it is. I think your filmmaking is on full display in this film, which is rare in a comedy, where you usually just have a bunch of cameras set up for improv, but there's such a craft to this film that I just from whether it's the drug trip sequence or various other things throughout, it's just your talent is on display, and I'm such a fan.
I'll just listen to this. Thanks, man.
And I'm just so impressed, and it evokes for me some of my favorite romantic comedies, whether it's Cameron Crowe or Harry Met Sally or Say Anything. It's just one of those classic romantic comedies, of which I don't think we've had a really great one in a long time. So we'll start into just kind of how this project came to be, because with all due respect, this is a script that was around for a long time.
It was around for a long time.
And I was just curious how you came aboard it and how you decided to make it relevant. Obviously there's so much that relates to the current political climate, how you got involved.
Yeah, well, I mean, I first read it in 2000. I was making Warm Bodies, so I think it was 2011, 2012. And I was not ready to make it. I don't know. There was just, I was already doing what I thought was a romantic comedy with zombies, and then but I couldn't get it out of my head, and Seth was playing Fred, and they didn't have Charlotte yet, and then I guess they went and got Charlize, and then I was like, oh, I should probably do this, I think they'd probably offered it to many people in the interim, but I was making The Night Before with these guys, and I was like, oh, Charlize is doing that movie? That sounds like a really great, just once the two of them together were in it, it sort of clicked for me as something that could be really transcendent. And so then I came on board to do it, and then fucking Trump got elected president, which ruined the whole fucking thing for us. So we had to it was made everything difficult for everyone's lives. But then we had to change it a lot, because it was it was a wonderful script, but it was for it was the president was this kind of strong-jawed guy who really just wanted what was best for America, and I mean it just seemed kind of quaint and silly when Trump was president, so we had to redo a lot of stuff.
Odenkirk was such a pleasant surprise, seeing him in that role, and so funny. So it sounds like Charlize was involved before you got involved?
And she's a producer, so it was her production company, her as a producer, Seth's production company, Seth as a producer.
Because, I mean, for me, that was the joy of this film, was just seeing this, obviously, an Academy Award-winning actress who I've seen do action and drama and everything, but I just never could have imagined just how funny she is.
Yeah, I mean, she had done, I kind of knew she would be funny, because when you meet her, she's really funny. and she kind of just like messes with you and is incredibly charming and has comedic timing, and then I sort of did a little bit of a deep dive into like she's done like a few comedy things. She had done a Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis that was really funny. She'd done a little run on Arrested Development that was really funny. She was in the Million Ways to Die in the West and was really funny. So I mean, I knew she could do it. I knew she could do it anyway. But it was nice to like be able to see that side of her because it just was not something I was fully aware of.
Yeah, I'm sure for audiences it must be really exciting, as it was for myself, to see her in this new light, because Seth Rogen's obviously one of the funniest people there is, but I felt like she just owned this movie.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive the way she's able to become a comedian. I mean, it's like some of the stuff that she's doing in that Molly sequence is like, it's like something that it was like Kristen Wiig or, Lucille Ball. I don't know. It was just like, I was like, oh, you can do anything. I was telling Ruben, she had us over to dinner last night and also cooked like dinner for me and Seth and Evan. And like, I never even could tell she was cooking. Like, and there was no staff and she just made this amazing meal. So like, it's just not fair. I don't know what.
So this is your third collaboration with Seth Rogen. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about just like, you mentioned even that you had just been working with him when this kind of came about, yeah. But what is that dynamic like with, obviously producer, writer, actor, and then how you guys have evolved in your relationship over the course of these three films? I mean,
and he is a director too, which is like not on the movies that I direct, but he is a director. So I don't know how you like to work, but like I actually like to use that. I like to turn to someone else who has really good taste on set and who understands coverage and who understands like how a movie is put together and use them to get feedback. So with Seth, like I would always bring him into like the collaborative process. But I mean, from the very beginning, he's such an incredible writer that he and I are like developing the script in a very hands-on way from the very beginning. And then we're also, there's also lots of writers on set who are writing jokes. And there's, lots of other people we're collaborating with who are helping make the script what it is, but it's always this very fluid thing. And that's what I love about working with him, is that he kind of creates this infrastructure of like relentlessly trying to make things better all the time. And someday we'll show up on set and he'll just be like, I don't think this scene is really working. And we'll literally rewrite the scene like in real time. And it's like, it's kind of like, sometimes it's frustrating, but it's never, I always know it's going to be better. So it's just frustrating in that way where you're like, Jesus, I got to do all this work, but I know it's going to be better, but it's going to be better. So it's just great having him there, and Evan too, as like extra set of eyes, someone else. I mean, my script supervisor on this movie and who also did Warm Bodies with me is also someone whose taste I really trust. So I often will be like, do I have it? Do you guys think I have it? I don't know. Do you do that? Or am I just a...
Yeah, I mean, I got to say, I think it takes a lot of confidence to do that. Like a lot of people would be insecure to represent like they don't know all the answers. And I more from your school, where I feel like I'm always soliciting other opinions because, ultimately I don't know everything. Yeah. And so it's like, if you have people you trust and that they're a part of the creative process, I think it's great to welcome that feedback.
Yeah, I like it. But then there's like sometimes where then it'll like someone will give me feedback and I'll just be like, I'm the fucking director. What do you like? I'll just have an arbitrary weird line where I'll just get, my ego will get bruised sometimes. It's actually, that's why it's hard, because when you have that blurry line, you're not always sure when to exactly assert yourself or when you're, bringing in a collaborative thing. But I mean, luckily when you have great collaborators, it seems to work out.
And so you guys are rewriting and rewriting throughout the shooting process?
Yeah, like we'll rewrite the whole script 2 months out. Just that seems like something that we've done on every movie. And it's just to make sure, I mean, a lot of it stays the same, of course, but you're always questioning everything. And it's just to make sure, like, you're stress testing the whole script. And then on set, and then like the week before, we won't really rehearse, but like Charlize will come in and we'll go through each scene and she'll say, oh, this reminds me of something that happened to me, and we'll put it in the script, and like it'll just grow that way. And by the time, after all that's done, it's like 145 pages, but we're shooting it. And then on the day, yeah, we'll change stuff. I mean, the scene where they first kiss, we changed in real time.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's kind of one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it works so well. Me too. And are you guys, I'm sure, also improvising a ton in addition to all the rewriting?
Yeah, like everyone kind of has the ability to and opportunity to improvise. I think usually we try to do the first take pretty much by the book, but sometimes we even forget to do that. On this movie, we did, on the night before, I did it so much that I got really sick of it, and I found myself just kind of like sitting for hours at a time just watching two funny people like make jokes back and forth that kind of, if I really stop to think about it, we're not sort of organic to the story, and we're not really going to push the story forward, and probably, unless they were like A+ jokes, not going to make it into the movie. So I tried to like hem it in a little bit on this movie, and I also tried to, I mean, the script was very strong from the very beginning, so there wasn't a lot of opportunity to go like crazy off the rails with it. But yeah, like a lot of the best jokes are improvised. Seth is, you can't, like, stopping Seth from improvising would be a very dumb thing to do.
And may I just ask, like, how many days you had for this?
43 days.
43?
Yeah.
And on average, like, how many takes do you think, for each setup?
I mean, it's 2 cameras. I'm probably doing like 4 or 5 takes. And I'm probably doing a lot of coverage. And I want to try to do less coverage in the future.
It felt like there was many designed shots.
There were design shots. So what I tried to do was like land them in coverage so I could improvise stuff and have 2 cameras and be able to cut, but have like one cool shot per sequence. I remember at film school, Anthony Minghella, I don't know. It sounds fancier. Came and told us that you should always try to put your coolest shot in the middle of a scene, because if you have it at the beginning or the end, you might cut it. I didn't do that, but I remember that advice. But we tried to have like one kind of cool thing per scene.
Right. Music has always been such a big part of all of your films, and I feel like, there's some of the most memorable moments in this movie are tied to music. We happen to both work with the same music supervisor, but I feel like a lot of this originates from you. You want to talk about Boyz II Men and Roxette and just kind of the soundtrack of this film? Yeah,
I mean, Boyz II Men was just, we got lucky. We wanted someone who meant something to them as kids. And we, Boyz II Men, they do a residency in Vegas, but I think they're like this weird, for the amount of hits they have, they're like, cred in the music industry is not commensurate to it. Like they're like the Beatles, like they have 100 hits. So we just got lucky. Like they happened to be available. They like Seth's movies and they were around. So we got them. And then with It Must Have Been Love, that was Seth's idea. I mean, that's the cool thing about working with contemporaries. Like Seth and Charlize and I are all kind of the same age. We all have kind of the same pop culture references. And so, yeah, Seth was the one who said It Must Have Been Love. I wanted Rush Rush by Paula Abdul. But we played It Must Have Been Love on the day, and like Charlize really liked it. We hadn't cleared any of this shit. And we just, and so Gabe, of course, when I texted him, I was like, you got to get Roxette because like it's in the movie now. He wasn't super psyched. They don't like, music supervisors don't like having to clear songs based on you already having put the song in the movie.
Going back to improv real quick, I was just curious too, like in the editing room, when you do just have such of an abundance of improv, how do you determine, are you watching all the takes? Are there hero jokes that you love? Are you relying on an audience's feedback? Like, it's kind of like you have an abundance of riches. So
yeah. It's weird. No, I can't watch dailies. I mean, I do late in the process when I don't feel like something's working after months and months, but I usually let the editors watch the dailies and construct the scene. And if there's a joke I love, I'll remember it. Usually I have a pretty good memory for that stuff. So I'll be like, why didn't you use that? but I won't start like rifling through dailies until pretty late in the process, and it's only when I don't know what I have, or when I'm not happy with where the scene is after months of doing it. It's like pulling teeth. I'm like, all right, I guess we got to watch all the dailies today. It makes me uncomfortable. I don't know why. I used to do it all the time.
I actually am in the same boat. Like the same for me. Do you have an editor that you work with regularly so that you trust that they're pulling the right stuff, or was there was 2 editors on this movie?
Yeah.
And
so
had you worked with either of them before?
I had worked with Melissa before. Melissa had cut Snatched for me with Zine Baker, and then Evan was someone who Seth and Evan suggested. He had cut The Interview, and he'd done some like. I can't remember what else he had done. He had done some assistant editing on some Tarantino movies. I mean, they're both just wonderful editors, and they never really worked at the same time because Melissa was on from the beginning, and then we went on hiatus just because we knew we were gonna reshoot, and they wanted to save money, so they just shut us down. And then and then Melissa got another job, so I brought Evan in. But no, I mean. I think that what I trust is when I see the scene and it works. You know, if I like the scene and I think it's funny, and usually the scene it's not really about finding the jokes. It's just about making the scene shorter. Usually, I've been lucky enough that these editors kind of know what they're doing, and the scene is working, and then it's just about trimming it down. But no, I mean, I'm pretty I think editing is like the one place that I'm actually pretty good. So I also can speak an editor language. Like I understand how the computer works, and like I just kind of I feel like I can I can't tell a DP what's wrong with. I can say if I don't like the way something looks, but I can't really, and I won't probably rarely say that. But like with an editor, I think I can speak the editorial language, so I can usually, even if I'm not getting what I want, I can communicate in that way and get there.
Speaking of DP, had you worked with this DP before?
No.
And what was the collaboration?
I loved him. He's crazy. He's a crazy Montreal guy, and he worked with Jean-Marc Vallée. My friend Bruna Papandrea, who produced Warm Bodies, was like, "You have to hire this DP. You're shooting in Montreal. You have to hire this DP." He was a Montreal local, and I was like, "Why? What's his deal?" She was like, "Just shut up and hire the DP. Like he's great." And I was like, "Okay, cool," because he'd shot Big Little Lies with her. And when he worked with Jean-Marc Vallée, he's not allowed to use lights. I guess Jean-Marc Vallée says don't use lights, so it's all practicals, or I don't know how he does it. But it was that kind of like, that kind of taste, you know, that's like, it's not gonna be like a brightly lit, flat comedy. And B, like the ingenuity of like figuring out how to do something really fast and not use lights. We let him use lights, of course, but like it was that kind of sort of mentality that I thought really suited him to shoot this. And the other thing is he's got a real kind of passion for cinema, and like he loves comedy, but he also loves just movies in general. So when you're working with someone like that, your reference points are like movies that you're aspiring to be, that are kind of like really great movies, and not just movies that are like the movie you're making in a way, you know what I mean? So like the collection of your references actually elevates the movie. So it was like Tootsie, or Say Anything, or Broadcast News, like all these movies that like we really, really wanted to be as good as, but like, you know, we're also making like a silly comedy, so it's not like we don't think we're in the same category as those movies, but still I think the cumulative effect of having these sort of sophisticated references elevates the material.
That's awesome. I was also really impressed by just the locations in this film, and I think I read that you guys shot in Montreal, but were you in South America or something?
Yeah, we also went to Cartagena, which was a beautiful place. It looks like they shot Gemini Man there, because in the trailer there's stuff I recognize from where we shot. But like we were in Cartagena for like 3 or 4 days.
But that's it, because it looks like you literally went all over the world.
Yeah, there was a lot of CG. I mean, like not like super robust, expensive CG, but there was a lot of like the Swedish Palace was just a place outside of Montreal, but we kind of used set extension to make it look more like Sweden. And yeah, just clever kind of. We really picked our spots, and were clever about the time of day we were shooting things, what direction we were looking in. And yeah, I think that helps.
For me, that outfit that Seth Rogen wears in that Swedish sequence, like as soon as I saw him, I mean, it just made me laugh so hard, and I just thought that sequence was incredible. I was curious, actually, how did you arrive at that look? Were there a lot like, did you go through like 7 different incredibly ridiculous outfits, or was that the one and you just knew it? Like, how'd you land on that one? Because it just hits, and then when he takes off the jacket and you get the next,
that part was great. I think it was written into, like, Liz Hannah wrote that into the script. That also the joke that when he took it off, there were like ruffles, and like that was all written into the script. So I don't remember, like, with jokes like that, that's like a pure collaboration between me and Seth. Like, that is like a fall, for example, like stuff that's like pure comedy, which is not my strongest suit, like physical comedy or like stuff like that. I kind of lean on him a little bit for. So like when he fell down the stairs and like ran, like instead of falling backwards, which is what I would have done, Seth was like, just started pulling up like YouTube videos of people falling, and was like, that's funny. And it was like just a totally different way, and it takes a joke that's like a pretty dumb joke and makes it just makes it a new version of a joke. Like, it's a new thing that you haven't seen before. So with the Swedish suit, I think that we have a wonderful costume designer named Mary Vogt, and she, I think she kind of got it right away. It's not like, it's inspired by traditional Swedish suits, and I looked at a bunch of traditional Swedish suits, but then she kind of elaborated on it, and then I think I probably showed it to Seth, and he took it to even one level further.
Yeah, that was amazing. What was there any days that you look back on the shoot that were just like the worst days, or any days that were the best days? Do you have any memory of?
I mean,
what was the most challenging? Was it the schedule, or was it?
Yeah, I think it's always time. You know, it's always like, I mean, there was the night in Sweden. You know, that was in Montreal, and it was like we were a few miles outside of Montreal. It was very, very cold, and like Charlize gets cold easily, so we had like a whole elaborate like heat lamp situation, and that's always a bummer when you know your actor is deeply unhappy to be doing it. You know, it's just. And I love her, so I just like didn't want to put her in that situation for too long. That's why I would never, like, if I read a script and it's like first page is like exterior Antarctica, I'm like, I'm not doing this fucking movie. I don't want to go. It's too cold. But anyway, so that was kind of a challenging day. The day with Boys to Men was challenging just because it was time and figuring out how much time did I need to shoot them and how much time did I need to. We also were doing the stunt that day. It really is all time management and kind of trying to figure out how not to let the actors know how stressed out you are about time. I feel like I spend a lot of my on-set day just being like, yeah, everything's great, and I know I'm like 6 shots behind and it freaks me out. But yeah, and then best days, like there were so many great days. It was like one of my favorite movies to shoot because I just love the people and we were really clicking, and I just loved seeing them every day, and I just watching the two of them on screen together was always just like such a joy for me. So there were a lot of wonderful days. I mean, the last day we were like in Colombia on like, we all had like, I mean, this has nothing to do with the movie, but it was just kind of fun. It's like we were on the beach. Like the beach stuff is like an hour outside of Colombia, of Cartagena, on like, you have to take like, we all had this big nautical unit where we all had to coordinate like our boats that would go out to, each one of us had our own kind of island with our own house on it. So like for the last 3 nights, it'd be like, you're invited to Charlize's island for dinner at her house. It was like, it was pretty cool. I mean, anytime someone says this job is hard, I think about that, and it's pretty fun.
As far as the time management, is there an AD that you've worked with repeatedly or was this a new experience? And how do you manage that relationship?
I am like really on top of that stuff. Like I have a shot list. I have like an Excel document where I will do like a shot list, and I have like different columns for like the shot, the day, whatever. And so I will know, it's not storyboards, although I will do that, but it's like just the type of shot I need, and like, you know, usually I throw it away, but it's just something in case I go crazy on the day and forget everything I wanted to do. It's like, it's just a way for me to recognize like, okay, day 3 I have 14 setups, and so I want to be on the 5th setup by, you know, hour 2 or whatever, but the first setup is like a really long one-er, and so I wanted that. I'll give myself 2 hours. Like I kind of AD.
That's what I was gonna just ask. It sounds like you're ADing yourself almost.
A little bit, but like not really, because when you have a good AD, there's so much more to it. But I do know how long things take by this point, as far as just the actual shots. I don't know, I can't direct background. I can't and all the stuff that great AD does. But I think I do make it easier on them in that way, because I am very cognizant of time all the time.
How do you kind of, with this movie now out there in the world, and kind of think about next project, how whether it was as it relates to this or any of the great movies you've made, do you have an agenda with what you're trying to make, or how do you land on your projects?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is always evolving, because there's times where you can't do the stuff that you want to do, right? Because just like the industry is not letting you do it. There's times when, I think the last few were all sort of reactions to the one before in a weird way, and not in a good way. I think they were just, I'm so proud of this movie. But this movie was like me just being like, I want to work with these guys. But like, and I'm proud of all the movies, but like the Amy Schumer movie I did was a reaction to, well, I think the movie before that was not going to, I could feel the studio wasn't supporting it. I was like, all right, I should try to do like a commercial movie, And I think what I learned is that that's not like a good reason to do a movie. And so I think now I'm just going to sort of reset because I have something I really like and I have it, I'm happy to have it be like the top of my IMDb page and like whatever. And so I'm going to just kind of sit back and really think about what I want to do next and have that luxury, because I've done 3 movies in like 4 years, and I put a little bit of dough aside, and I don't have to, like, the financial imperative to do it is not there. So, but I mean, in the past, it was like I did 50-50 because I wrote a movie prior to that, and I was sick of my own writing, and I really liked Will's writing. And then I did Warm Bodies right after 50-50 because it was like an opportunity to do kind of like something that was not what 50-50 was, which was like a world building thing. So they're all kind of like, I get kind of bored and then do something else. But it's evolving.
Do you think you'll always stay within the comedy genre? Or?
No, I'm kind of sick of it. I don't know. I mean, you do both things.
Yeah, and I think I like comedy.
You do? But see, that's what I'm saying. You probably like comedy because you were just doing something that wasn't comedy, and then you did a comedy. I don't know. I always just feel like it's so related to, was the last experience positive or not, and then at least in my mind. And
you write too. I mean, is there the possibility that you might write a movie?
Yeah, I would write. I mean, I'm into like doing some TV stuff now, because you don't have to deal with it coming out, and like the stakes feel lower. If it sucks, no one would ever know. Just be a pilot that went away. But yeah, I'm writing some TV stuff, and I'm excited about that too.
That's great. Well, congratulations on
Thank you.
Really, really amazing movie.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks to everyone for coming out to watch it and staying for the Q&A. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. If you'd like to hear more, you can find past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Also, if you're enjoying our show, please take a moment to rate and review us. We'd love to hear your feedback, and you can help fellow cinephiles find the show. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.